Hello, I'm so glad to see you here. Whether you're a live or replay viewer, we are going to talk about your white canvas, the white canvas, metaphorically, that you can journal upon. And this is one of my favorite concepts, actually, so I'm really, really glad that we're getting to it together, because the concept of having a white canvas when you are nearing retirement age or empty nest phase, it seems kind of like, what do you mean a white canvas? So I wanted to show you as a metaphor a canvas that I have here. And you're going to say, what? That's not a white canvas. It's partially white. But what this is it is a canvas that I actually thrifted. It's from a thrift store. And someone else's painting was on here. Someone else's painting was on here. And I felt like it didn't reflect me and I wanted something different. I had made another painting on it and I wanted to mix it up. So this has been sitting around my house like this. Hey, Cheryl. This canvas has been, it's actually really pretty. I mean, I haven't really looked at it close up for several years. In fact, I remember when my sister came and visited me in September of 2022. I remember her looking at this painting and doing what I'm doing, which is feeling it because it has a really cool texture. And what I'm thinking of doing is reworking this and maybe taking some of that, just using some sandpaper on it, taking some of the texture out and leaving some of the texture. But it does almost. It's not pour paint though. See, you can see I use gesso, so it has like a cool 3D look because it is 3D. So it's a couple different colors of paint, and here you can see it used to have green underneath it. The original painting had green. So when I say a white canvas, I don't necessarily mean what you might think of as a conventional white canvas. This can become a white canvas again. And when we are beyond, I mean, I think probably almost anyone, once they get past even early childhood, your life can always be a white canvas, and you can always paint over, because you can paint over. You can make changes. You can keep things the same. And I wanted to bring one of my favorite quotes to you, because if you're looking at your life and you're thinking, how can I start over? How can I be new again? How can I let go? As we've been talking about for the last couple of days. But I love white canvases, and I love Mondays. My favorite day of the week has been for a long, long time, because when we agree to start fresh, when we agree to let go of things that no longer serve us or that are no longer true about us, we can declare this white, paint it over, and start fresh. Just like every Monday is a fresh new week. Every calendar, every month, we flip the calendar. We have a whole new month. Every day that I wake up and I say, it's a new day, I'm alive. It's a new day. So with white canvases that we paint on, it's also like every time we pick up our journal, every time we turn the page, we have a bright, fresh, new page. This is my rollover and rate journal. I started talking about that a little bit in the past. But this is like I got this when I was in Maryland, when I was about to go into the hospital for my surgery. And just like my glasses, those glasses remind me that I am valuable and worthy of nice things. This journal reminds me that I'm worthy of nice things, because usually I just write in composition books, that I get for, here's an example of one. I'm sure these look familiar, especially because it's back to school time. So all these school supplies are really cheap. I'm the first person you've heard say that they love Mondays. Well, I am a little bit unique, Cheryl. This is usually what I write in. You can get these really inexpensively at big box stores. I mean, the most I spend on these is like $1. at the Dollar General, or this is from Walmart. I think Pen & Gear is their brand. This time of year, you can get them for 50 cents or less. And they're usually what I use to journal in, stuff like this. But this journal is my roll over and write journal. And I talked about what I do before I go to sleep and then when I wake up. And so I write, oh look, I wrote white canvas in here. I don't remember doing that. I did that last night before I went to sleep, and I was preparing in my mind for today. I wrote that down, and then this morning when I got up and we were on our morning walk, I came up with some of the plan for today. I had the thought about bringing the canvas in, which I did. I made a new graphic, which I haven't posted yet because it's been a really wild afternoon and evening, y'all. It's your favorite notebook is the composition book? Yes, I like it too. I actually usually prefer spiral notebooks, but I started painting these, like painting the covers, making covers for them, and I really just fell in love with this kind of book. You can also make them into art journals, and I'm a big fan of art journaling too, so they're fun. But with a rollover and write notebook, and this notebook that says, or this journal that says I'm valuable, it feels beautiful, it smells beautiful, and I don't write a lot in here, but I do write my thoughts before I go to sleep. Oh, you like the wide ruled. I like college ruled. So I give my thanks to God in here, not gratitude, but literally thanking God for helping me out. I wrote in here on August 6th, today peace will be a choice. The fire alarm went off and I was house sitting. And I said, sleepy and ready. And then I wrote, God, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I have problems sleeping, but so it's a very simple kind of journaling. If you think, oh, I can't, you think that journals have to have a lot of writing. They don't. Hello, Traveling with Whitcomb. So good to see you. We're journaling in here today. It's another journaling day. So a couple things about this one I just want to bring up again is that they're good for small bits and pieces. I don't carry this one around with me. This usually stays by my bedside, and I love feeling it. I love that awareness that I am worth a $30 journal every once in a while. And at the same time, these are my most commonly used journals. $1. And you've seen this because I've been using it all week. I love legal pads. Again, I get them super inexpensively, but I really like legal pads. My favorite legal pads are pink, so now you know. But here's the quote that I want to start off with, and then we'll read our poem. Our quote is from a thinker, theologian, poet named Rainer Rilke. And Rainer Rilke said, and this again is for you if you haven't been writing for a while or if you have concerns about writing, he wrote, have patience with all that is unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers. The point is to live the questions. Live the questions now. And that's something we can do with our journal. That's something we can do whether we are writing in an inexpensive notebook or doing dictation, which I talked about last night. So have patience with all that is unresolved in your heart. And as we write today, give yourself permission to have that patience that you might not have had before. So, okay, I'm going to read the poem, Now Begin, this is all based on, hi TV girl, how are you? I don't think we've met before, but I'm glad that you're here. So we're going to read the poem, and then I will give you a prompt to write from. And I really know this by heart. I don't know why I think I have to have it in front of me. I should just try to do it by heart now that I've been on stage again. All right. Take away the degrees, titles, and accomplishments. What is discovered at your core? What is your unique and special spark that you've buried deep, neglected, chosen to ignore. Seeking to please whomever, drowning out the pure longings of your heart. Struggling, freezing, suffocating, until finally you choose to start. Whispers from the spirit, soul songs from deep within. After dancing stranger among strangers, claim it, your life now begin. So in coming to these sessions, you finally are choosing to start. And I just wanted to acknowledge that your presence here, even if you're not getting any words on the page, is definitely a powerful start. So I'm turning so I can get writing and I can get my prompts down. There's lots of layers to this, lots of layers to journaling, lots of different ways to do it. And I wanted to start with I want to pull the canvas back up here, because I want you in this first prompt to look at your life as it is right now. You know, what's going on with you right now. And without changing anything, because we're not saying you have to change a thing with journaling. We're not saying you have to do an overhaul in your life. But this is a really good example of a painting that has resilience to it. Well, that's really cool, TV Girl. Why don't you get a notebook out? We can write about it. That'd be great. TVGirl.com says, I always need attention and fear of being judged and seen as ordinary. I doubt you're ordinary. So here's this canvas that has layers of paint and stuff and ridges and splotches and seemingly mistakes to it. And it is a work of art. In the description to this live stream, you will see a link to an old video I made about how you can be a masterpiece and a work in progress. So this first prompt is to look at your life as it is right now in your head, and without changing a thing, what is one part of your canvas, what is one part of your life that is already a masterpiece of resilience? So how are you a work of art and a work of resilience? I was going to say, I know Cheryl, and I know that Cheryl has a lot of examples. I don't know if you see that, Cheryl. But I would love for us to take 2 or 3 minutes, I'll time it, and write one part of my life that is already a masterpiece is. One part of my life that is already a masterpiece is. So we're going to write that down. One part of my life that is already a masterpiece is. One part of my life that is already a masterpiece is. Okay, so begin to write, or you can contemplate and think. You can put it in the chat. I'm going to time us for 2 minutes. Here we go. The prompt we're using is one part of my life that is a masterpiece is. Right now, one part of your life that is a masterpiece is. There's probably more than you know, actually. Hi, Queen Poetic Tears. We're doing a writing prompt. The writing prompt is one part of my life that is a masterpiece as is. One piece of my life that is already a masterpiece is. And you can put it in the chat. We're writing for about 30 more seconds. Okay, Okay, Plainola, that's totally perfect. One part of my life that is already a masterpiece is ... So I'm just going to jot a few more notes. Feel free to write in the chat or listen. Just breathe. I'm grateful for each person who's here. However you participate is perfect. This live is about, we're journaling. We're talking about journaling, and we're journaling to the prompt. And we're asking the question, or we're talking about one part of our life that is already a masterpiece. We showed this canvas here that I made, that I painted over several years ago. Yes, you could say your personality. That's a great answer. Okay, for those of you who are journaling on paper, feel free to finish that sentence, that phrase. Paz and Plainola said that his faith in the Creator is the only masterpiece, and I would say that is a beautiful. Faith is a masterpiece, and how you personify or bring that faith to life is indeed a masterpiece. So thank you. And Queen Poetic Tears, yes, your personality, I would say, is a masterpiece. Even though we're just meeting, I say that's definitely true. Cheryl's greeting everyone in the chat. So I wrote one part of my life that is a masterpiece, and I was looking at stuff first, and so I said, my journal collection. I shared some with you. My poetry books and my typewriters. That's just stuff, though. But then I said, the conviviality I express, or my friendliness, is a masterpiece. And one of the reasons that friendliness, I believe, is a masterpiece is that we connect with one another. And we can become more of who we are when we connect with one another. And in that respect, the words that we write down, the words that we say, we've talked about believing mirrors this week. When we look into a mirror, even one that is in our heart, in our mind, and when we express to other people their specialness, that is also an example of being a masterpiece. How it is right now. Do I have any notes to how to stop creating fake versions of yourself and believing this is who you are, even though it's not true? I don't have any notes specifically on that, but I would say that one of the ways to get to the truth of who you are is to actually spend time, something's in my hair, spend some time in quiet, spend time in prayer, spend time in meditation, spend time with people who you trust. And also, last night, if you watched last night's live stream, we talked about things like your passions from the past will sometimes show these to you. Yes, it's easier to see the masterpiece in others than in yourself. I would agree, Cheryl. And so that's why it's so helpful. Last night, one of our prompts was, who is someone in your life who you trust, who can reflect back to you? It's very helpful. Very helpful to find those people who you trust, who can reflect the masterpiece you are. Reflect the masterpiece you are to the world. Also, the video that's in the description is called, it's about being a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. So, okay. Thank you so much for participating with that in whatever way you are. It is all absolutely perfect, well, and good. I read this quote. I'm going to read it again because more people are here. This quote is from Rainer Rilke. It is, have patience with all that is unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for answers. The point is to live everything. Live the questions now. So I was going to say, as tvgirl.com asked that question, one of the things that I will often tell my students and people in my workshops is to do exactly what Rilke suggested, which was to live the questions. So if you have that question, how to stop creating fake versions of yourself. So how to live that question is to try to be or live as your most core self. And you can find your core self by looking back at yourself when you were a little girl, maybe. And you can also do this with help from a trusted therapist or a coach, teacher. And they can reflect back to you when they've seen you be fully yourself. It's a really good quote. It's one of my very favorites. That quote is from a book called, Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. And although he has Maria as his middle name, that's a gentleman. He's German from the turn of the 20th century. Phenomenal thinker. I have this book, that's him. And this has a quote of his every day. And when I was in Maryland most recently, my friend and I went to the National Cathedral, and she brought me another Rilke book. And it's funny because we were just watching Catherine's live stream. Some of us are friends with Catherine's fabulous 60s and beyond. And she was talking about acquiring things. And I always tell people, don't give me stuff, don't give me stuff. And my friend gave me a Rilke book, and inside the book she said, you can do whatever you want with this book. I don't have it here in front of me, it's in my other place. And she said, you can make art with this, do whatever you want. I think that's so cute. Anyway, so that quote that we just said, that is definitely about being a work in progress, just like this canvas that I keep pulling up here. This is a work in progress. It looks messy, doesn't it? And yet it looks beautiful. So you can be messy and beautiful at the same time. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still be beautiful. You are allowed to come, it's a really large book. I was doing balancing books on my head earlier this year. But you're allowed to come to a journaling workshop and not write a word on the page. It's all okay. So I want you to think about that. We're going to talk about it a little bit, and then we'll take some time to journal for those of us who are writing. Amen. Thank you. So in this quote, Rilke talks about locked rooms. We ask questions sometimes, and have patience, because sometimes when we ask questions and we're seeking answers instead of just being with a question, it's like having the frustration of a locked door. We're trying to get in, and it's like, you ever have someone say that to you? Instead of trying to break down that door, instead of getting out Google Translate, which can be very clunky, I know, because I speak I speak other languages to other people. It's clunky. But what I would like for you to think about, and you can put it in the chat, what is a work in progress area of your life? What is a work of progress area of your, oh, Madden, perfect timing. Where you can stop trying to find the key to open the door. You can stop using Google Translate or some version of that, and start living the question. Start putting one foot in front of the other toward, well, I talk about moving forward with love a lot. That's one of my watch phrases. I've been known to do it as a call and response, where I will say move forward and have people respond with love. Move forward with love. That was inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King. So this is a messy work of art. So one thing I could do, is I talked about it earlier with the work of progress. One thing that I could do, which would be moving forward with love and not having to have an answer, is to sand it down a little bit. Sand down some of this rough part. That's something I could do. So I'm going to ask the question again. Hi, it's good to see you, Miss M. I know there's people live all over the place. We're glad that you're here. And since Miss M is here, I want to read you a quote from Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Rilke. I think you really like it. So we're talking about being works in progress while we are also masterpieces. And so I lost my notes. There we go. So the question we're asking, we're going to journal from in just a minute, is what is a work of progress area of your life that you can stop searching for the key to the answer and just start living the question? So here you go. Madden says to trust me and not my brain. Sometimes my brain will lead me astray. Good. Good, TV Girl says, I try by being honest with myself and stop believing the lies my brain tells me, even though it's not easy. Definitely. One of my friends always says, depression is a liar. Because some of us deal with depression. So anyway, here we go. Here's the quote, especially for Miss M and everyone else to hear again, because I think you can never hear this quote enough, and then we'll journal. Have patience with all that is unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves, as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for answers. The point is to live the questions. Live everything. Live the questions now. Okay. So here's your prompt, and I'm going to give, I guess I'll give 3 or 4 minutes. I'll see how it's going from my end. So, what is a work in progress area of your life? What is a work in progress area of your life? And I'm going to switch it up a little bit because we are using this. I'm very much using my analog brain and my intuition to follow up with that. Is what is a work of progress area of your life, and how might you move forward with love toward the, I don't know how to phrase this. I got a loss for words. I saw Queen Poetic Tears right. I try to stop worrying so much about things I can't control. That's very good. Do you know the Serenity Prayer? That's an amazing prayer to live by. If I can get it right, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Very, very amazing way to live. So, what is a work in progress area of your life? So you might be working with being anxious a lot. You might be working with, like for me, I have decluttering I'm still getting done. Or it could be that I'm working on my parenting my adult children, or I'm trying to support my grandchildren. It could be anything. And how might you move forward with love? So we'll start, I will, or I may move forward with love. And then just write down whatever comes to your head. I may move forward with love. Hi, Bob. ... I may move forward with love by, and we'll write for 3 minutes. And I will continue prompting. If you'd like to answer this also in the chat, that's fine. You're welcome to do so. I'm going to be writing, so I can't look at the screen the whole time, but I'll look at it most of the time. Okay, I will move forward with love by, or I may move forward with love by. And if you don't know what to write, you can just keep writing the prompt. I may move forward with love by. What this does, when you write it over and over again, is it's almost like priming the pump. Remember, have patience with all that is left unresolved in your heart, including if you think you're not getting a prompt right. My family's texting me again. I may move forward with love by. Decluttering. I did a lot of moving forward with love today, but in very small chunks, because that's the only way I could manage it. So small chunks. using Swiffer pads. There's a lot of Swiffer pads today in unique places like windowsills. I know it might sound strange, but sure does smell good in here. I may move forward with love by. You probably didn't think you'd hear me talking about Swiffer on the journaling live today. All right, if you're writing, you take about 30 more seconds. Keep that writing going. I'm really grateful for each person who's here tonight. We have 2 more days after today. We'll be journaling. I am posting the long form version of these sessions, but I posted one, and then day 2, even though it's day 3 already, day 2 will go up not tomorrow, but day after tomorrow. And then about every other day, those will come out. I'm really working on my hours, and so I'm creating a lot of content. So I hope that you will continue to come back and revisit these journaling live streams, but also the long form, because they're a little bit more condensed. Okay, TV Girl says, I may move forward with love by being easy with myself and stop expecting too much from others, letting go of things I can't control and give all my problems away to God. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, TV Girl. Queen Poetic Tears says, I may move forward with love by doing the advice that I give others. I tend to give advice to others and need to listen to my own advice. Yes, very good. Oftentimes when I give advice, I tell people I'm talking to myself too. So you are right on. Okay, Cheryl says, I will move forward with love by staying in touch with my very ill mom, even though she was never a mom to me, says Cheryl. That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. And a good example of those things that are probably still unresolved in your heart. And they may never be resolved. Some of those things can never be resolved. And not to keep talking about myself, but I made a video that I published earlier today about acting. And in that, when I was making that video, I told a bit of a story I didn't know I was going to tell. And it involved my mom. And I said, I've never told the story because it hurt so bad. And I never wanted to tell that story when my mom was here on the planet because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So I held it in. And telling that story was liberating, but also it was liberating in the way that I can now talk about it. And I feel grateful for that. So is it resolved? No, it will never be truly resolved, but there's freedom in speaking it. Thank you, Madden. Madden says he loved my Substack. Madden, you inspired me to get back in there with Substack. So I thank you so much. My Substack, I've decided to do my Good Morning Loves again over there because I have like 4 years of Good Morning Loves. For those of you who don't know, I write a daily message to my friends on Facebook. It's called Good Morning Love. I also have videos called Good Morning Love. So thank you. Thank you. You're all so good to me. I really appreciate you, each person here. Okay. All right. I knew today would be shorter than the others. It has been quite the day away from here. I'm going to give you a prompt. We're not going to write to it here, but I'd like you to take it with you as we prepare for tomorrow, the 4th day. By the way, TV Girl and Queen Poetic Tears are new here. I don't think I've seen you all here before. I hope you'll come back because you've been a joy. You've been a real joy. So thank you for being here. Okay. Also, I go live in the mornings. I have today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'll be going live 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going for walks. Tomorrow we're going to a place called Luscroft Farms. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, Chris. Yeah, I know we've been connected because I know that I subscribed to you. So I'm glad that you made it. I'm glad we got to write. I'm glad we got to talk poetry stuff. So that's really good. Okay, you ready? This is one for us all to think about. It's in my notes on my screen. If you were to paint, so here's the canvas again. Thank you so much, TV girl. So listen carefully. This may be for you, because it's no accident that you're all here tonight. It's like you were supposed to be here. Oh, excellent. Excellent. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. So think for a second, and this goes for this metaphor of me. If you were to paint a fresh layer of hope over your current story tonight, so if you were to paint a fresh layer of hope in your life tonight, what color or word would represent your fresh start? So I would like, if you're brave, to put that word in the chat, or if you feel compelled to. What word or phrase or color would represent your fresh start? And then take that word and journal about it. Journal with it as your prompt. Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? So what word, color, or phrase would represent your fresh start? Blue and freedom. Madden, that's beautiful. Blue and freedom. It's beautiful. Lately, I've been feeling teal. The color teal, if you know what that looks like. Teal. And I would say the word that I would choose is open-hearted and receiving. I would say both of those. Yeah, open-hearted receiving. Open-hearted receiving. I would say sometimes journaling is like receiving, because we're receiving words, sometimes out of thin air. TV girl, kindness, fearless, and accepting who I am. Pink for kindness, red for fearless, blue for accepting. I love that. That's amazing. Yellow to honor your daughter and help women get out of domestic violence. That's wonderful, Cheryl. That's fantastic. The play that I was in this weekend, we raised money for a domestic violence organization that's working toward ending domestic violence. So I thought of you when we had the talk back part of the evening, or the afternoon show. And our friend Kay from Kay and Row, he asked a question, which was really a good one. So I know, isn't TV Girls fun? I'm so glad you came in. It's like you came at the absolute perfect live stream. Yeah. And I was going to say, I've done that show so many times, and we raised money, usually, you know, like anywhere between $6,000 and $15,000 for a group called the Alliance Against Family Violence in Bakersfield. They do really good work. This business, the one that we raised money for this time, was called, well, different organization, different town, was, I think it was called Azun Car, something like that. So it's such important work. Yeah. I also made art, mixed media art in Bakersfield that I sold for the same organization. So that's wonderful. Madden says that when he's wealthy, he wants to donate and have a foundation to help others. That's wonderful. So important. Catherine, hi. Oh, you had things to do. You had things to do. I would say we had some, I'll share the quote. I'll share the quote one more time. And I think you can relate to this quote. Are you ready? This is from Rainer Rilke, who is one of my favorite poets, thinkers. This is what he looks like. He's German, turn of the 20th century. And this quote is from his most famous work, which is called Letters to a Young Poet. And he said, "Have patience with all that is unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for answers. The point is to live everything. Live the questions now." So, the recap version of this will be out. Let's see, I'm bringing out the day after tomorrow. This will probably be out on Monday. I'm really working on getting out a lot of content. I'm trying to get 21 watch hours daily. And I'm also trying not to exhaust myself. Isn't it beautiful? Madden says, I like donating what I do anonymous. I don't like attention or name on kindness. I just want people to know it's still around so my foundation wouldn't have my name to them. Okay, you'd run the foundation. That's great. That's fantastic. All right, does anyone have any questions about journaling that I can help you with? Yeah, I don't want to exhaust myself. I would say in the background of my life, there's a lot of things going on that I'm not talking about. There's no need for me to talk about, but it's just pretty tiring things happening out here. So, as evidenced by my family, both the last 2 nights, the California family has been texting and texting and texting. I'll tell you a funny story that happened today, though. You all know that my uncle passed away. Well, if you've been around, you know my uncle passed away, 97 years old. And my sister-in-law and my niece are cleaning out his house. My morning walks are so beautiful. Thank you, Cheryl. Tomorrow we're going to a really beautiful place too, but there's no water at this place. We have really been a lot of watery places. Today we saw an otter and a heron. But they're cleaning out the apartment. It gets really silly, Madden. And they found, guess what they found? Well, you won't be able to guess. They found a grenade. A grenade with a pin in it. So they did the responsible thing and called the police. The police came, the bomb squad came. They had the neighbors had to leave the neighborhood because in case this was a... But the funny thing about they made the neighbors leave, but my niece and my sister-in-law were still there. I'm like, they would have blown up, but the neighbors would not have. And what happened was, it's scary, but it was like, I know it sounds wild, but my siblings and I were all kind of have a wacky sense of humor. And we were all just being ridiculous and making jokes and cracking up and talking about old family stories. And for the first time, I think in the history of life, my eldest brother and I were kind of aligned on this. And that was kind of fun and different. But that was one, all afternoon, just the texts were flying. And the pictures were flying of the bomb squad people and the fire department. And what they found was, it was live, but it was empty. And then my sister-in-law wanted the grenade back and they wouldn't give it to her, which also made us laugh. So, okay. Thank you. Thank you about my goal of 21 hours a day. I had a really big day this week, lots of hours. My watch hours can go anywhere from like 10 hours a day on low days, and my highest day was 30 hours. If I could get 30 hours every day, that'd be fantastic. Okay, Madden says, how do you get past the writer's block of journaling besides at night, but want to write for other reasons? Okay, so one thing that I do, Madden, is I have set appointments to write. So today, for example, I wrote at noon. I had an hour's appointment. It's like I set it on my calendar. 12 noon, work on the Tree Hug book. And so I sat down, I wrote on the Tree Hug book. Was it all brilliant writing? Not necessarily. But I got some new stuff in that book. I hadn't planned on getting that book written on. I would not have worked on that book if I hadn't made a date with myself for it. And I would say that when you make a date with yourself, just like you make a date, you go to the dentist, you schedule an appointment, you take a friend out to lunch, you schedule an appointment, you set an appointment to do your writing. And it's good to journal at night. And if you want to do free flow writing, again, schedule an appointment. There's different things you can use, like co-working and body doubling. I use something called Focus Mate. And on Focus Mate, you have someone across the desk or table. It's virtual though. And that keeps me in line too. Because again, you have an appointment, you make a commitment to someone else, and for whatever reason, that's really helpful. If you want to use me for that purpose, Madden, you're welcome to jot me a note, drop me an email or whatever and say, Julie, I'm going to write between 5 and 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then check in with me and say, hey, Julie, I'm writing. And then check out, hey, Julie, I wrote. You could even share what you wrote. That's a really good way to do it, too. Thank you for your condolences. Okay, Chris, why does AI change our spelling? Are you asking me? AI gets a lot of things wrong, for one thing. In the phone, my phone messes up my spelling a lot when I'm texting. And in my dictation, it also does some pretty crazy things too. How do you share your work? What kind of work are you talking about, TV girl? There's lots of ways to share your work. And are you talking about fiction, nonfiction, poetry, plays? Just for your reference, I have had plays produced. I've had articles, lots of articles published, short stories. Never had a novel published yet. I haven't tried, but I've thought about writing a novel. And books. I've actually published an ebook in 1999. Can you believe that? So yes, TV girl, if you could share what kind of work you're talking about, and then we can answer that question. I plan to do a Q&A every night. This is the first time I've actually done it, so I'm happy that there's questions. Sometimes with AI, I think that AI thinks they're smarter than we are. One time I had AI ask me, or AI tried to correct me, and I came back with, no, that's not true. And I cited my citation that was evidence that what I said was right. And AI backed down, and they said, oh, I see, yes, you are right. And I'm like, AI, stop it. Oh, a quote? So if you have a quote, and I love you're asking this question, because when you quote someone else, you put it in quotations and you give the name of the person. If it came from like a book or a magazine article or whatever, it's also helpful to say, okay, so for example, this quote that I read by Rainer Rilke, I would say, just like I did it, I gave you the quote. I said it was by Rainer Rilke, and I said it was from the book Letters to a Young Poet. Now, that's different than if you are writing a paper, an academic paper. There's a whole different format for that, and you might want to look up the MLA format. You can Google it. It will tell you exactly how to document it. And it will also, sometimes there's some forms you can actually like go and type in the different things, like the website name, the pages, all of that, and they'll give it the proper form for you. Am I going to do my walk tomorrow? I was. Well, I get mad. It's like, hey, I know my stuff. ChatGPT, one time I was asking for quotes, and they gave a quote and they attributed it to me. And I was like, because I have quotes out there that people use. I've had greeting cards with my writing in it, which is very funny. It's also very funny when people say, oh, I saw that greeting card of yours, and the company hadn't asked for my permission. So that's always interesting and embarrassing. Yes. All right, Chris, I will be going on my walk tomorrow morning. We're going to go to Luscroft Farms. And this morning I said we would go at 6:45, but I want to stick with 6:30 because I've been promoting it to be at 6:30. So Luscroft Farms is very pretty. It is not there's no water features there, but there may be deer. Because one time when I walked out there, and I have video of deer, sometimes there's bear out there. We'll pray there's no bears roaming around. Today I thought I saw a wildcat. It's been a very busy wildlife week. This morning we saw an otter, and we also saw another heron. We've seen 2 herons this week. Deer are adorable. I love deer. I thought I heard some wild turkeys. And I saw a bird that I don't know what it was. It was a cute little bird, though, and I can draw it and replicate it. So we'll be going out at 6:30 a.m., walking at Luscroft Farms, which is a part of High Point State Park, my favorite local state park. And it was originally, it was like part of Rutgers University as well, where they studied animals and, farm animals and the like. It's beautiful. Thanks for asking, Chris. I hope to see you out there if you're up early. Okay. No, that was an otter. That was an otter. I asked, I don't know if you heard me say that, saying, Sussex people, tell me if this is an otter. And one of my friends did exactly that. So I did not know that it's a river otter. I did not know that river otters were indigenous to this area. River otters are more common in South Jersey, in the Delaware Bay, where I will be close to. But no, they're also in Sussex County. I've never seen Bigfoot, Chris. Never. I do have large feet, though. I don't think that counts. There's also a very funny old YouTube video that has Bigfoot caught on tape. And they have a human foot with tape on it, which I thought was funny. But no. All right. I'm glad you'll set your alarm clock. I want to thank all of you for being here, whether you participated with your voice or you participated with your wonderful presence. I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm always happy when people come to my lives and spend their time with me. We'll be going live 7:30 p.m. Thursday and Friday, and I'm very excited